What's going to happen between now and September the 30th, the deadline for them to vote on this piece of legislation?
It is a quiet day on Capitol Hill here, David. They're not in session right now, but behind the scenes, Republicans in the Senate are gearing up to make what could be the most significant, the most dramatic change to the healthcare system in a very, very long time. This Graham-Cassidy bill, as we know, is on the cusp of passage. It is not quite there. Remember, they failed by one vote last time. There are 4 senators that I'm aware of that are the key holdouts right now. John McCain, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski are holdouts, and Rand Paul is a no. They need at least 2 of the other 3 to pass it. It is not clear where they are. There are several other Republican senators that are on the fence at this moment, but they are expected to vote yes if this comes up. We know this bill is likely to it would cut Medicaid by about, and federal funding overall, by about $160 billion. It would take the taxes in Obamacare and redistribute them among states, from blue states that expanded Medicaid like California, New York, Massachusetts, and send a lot of those resources to red states that didn't, like Louisiana, Texas. I'm sorry, like Texas, Alabama, and Tennessee. We do know it would allow states to get waivers under the law that would let insurance companies charge sick people more for coverage. This was one of the guarantees that Obamacare made, so it would be a very dramatic change to the healthcare system, and they have less than 10 days to do it.
President Trump tweeted that it would actually include coverage of pre-existing conditions. Does it? Why is there so much confusion out there?
Right. The president did tweet that. We actually fact-checked this yesterday. So what the bill does is that it includes, it maintains what's known as the guaranteed issue provision in Obamacare. Insurance companies cannot turn people away. They cannot simply say, no, we're not going to cover you. What they can do under the waiver is charge higher prices. So theoretically, an insurance company can charge a sick person $1 million for a policy. They're not turning them away, but it's effectively locking them out of the market. So I think that's the key point. It would be access in theory, at the very least, is what experts say. But in practice, it's a very different story.
I look at some of these senators who you say are on the fence or might waver here. Shelley Moore Capito among them, Cory Gardner, Rob Portman. The last time this happened, we saw the president travel to those states to flex a little muscle to get them to vote for the piece of legislation. Are we going to see that? Any indication that the president's going to travel to these states, Sahil?
Well, I don't think we know what the president's specific plans are next week in terms of travel, but I think as last time, as when the AHCA, the House version, was making its way through in the final stretch, he got more engaged, he got more active, started making calls. It helped with some wavering members in the end. In the Senate, it's a bit of a heavier lift. But I think if he feels like they're close and his impact could, or his getting involved could have an impact, I'm sure we'll do it. I just think it's tougher. John McCain, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, these are not easy people to sway just by traveling to their states.